You thought it was over. You had survived the silence, the withdrawal, the confusion. You had reached a place that felt, for the first time in a long time, like stillness, like breathing. And then your phone lit up. Maybe it was a text. Something small. Something that looked almost innocent. "I've been thinking about you." Or perhaps it arrived as a memory shared on social media. A song. A photograph from a time when things felt different. Perhaps it came through someone else entirely. A mutual friend mentioning, almost casually, that they had been asking about you. Whatever the form, the feeling was the same. That pull. That specific, exhausting, deeply familiar pull. If you have ever experienced this, if you have ever been in a relationship with a covert narcissist and found that no matter how it ended, they always seem to find their way back, then what you are about to hear will make something click into place. Because what you experienced has a name. It is called hoovering. Hoovering is named after the vacuum cleaner brand, and the name is precise, because that is exactly what it is. The narcissist, after a period of distance or discard, attempts to vacuum you back into the relationship, back into their orbit, back into the cycle. It is not random. It is not a sign that they have changed. And it is not, despite how it feels in the moment, a sign that what the two of you had was real in the way you hoped it was. It is a tactic, and once you understand the psychology behind it, you will never be caught off guard by it again. To understand hoovering, you have to understand something fundamental about how a covert narcissist experiences the world. The covert narcissist does not operate from a place of genuine connection. They operate from a place of need. Specifically, the need for what psychologists call narcissistic supply. The attention, the admiration, the emotional reactions, the sense of control that other people provide. When a relationship ends, or when the narcissist discards someone, they do not lose the need. They simply lose the source. And when their new sources are insufficient, or when their current situation feels threatened, or when they simply experience a moment of internal emptiness that they cannot tolerate, they go back. Not because they miss you as a person, but because you were a reliable source. Think of it this way. You spent months or years providing something to this person. You gave them your emotional energy, your reassurance, your reactions, your hope. You became, over time, a very efficient supplier of the thing they most need. And suppliers who have already been trained, who already know the dynamic, who already have a history with the narcissist, are far more valuable than starting from scratch. That is what the Hoover is about. It is not about love. It is about convenience and supply. Here is what makes hoovering so effective and so difficult to resist. It never arrives the same way twice. The covert narcissist is an expert reader of emotional states. They watched you for months or years. They learned what moves you. They learned what your unmet needs are. They know which version of themselves, which tone, which gesture, which apology, has the best chance of getting past your defenses. And so the Hoover is always custom-made. Sometimes it arrives as vulnerability. I've been struggling since we stopped talking. Sometimes it arrives as nostalgia. I saw something today, and it made me think of you. Sometimes it arrives as an apology. Not a real one, but a perfectly constructed performance of one. The right words, the right tone, the right amount of apparent pain. And sometimes, it does not arrive as contact at all. The narcissist may simply appear. In a place you frequent, through a mutual connection, in your peripheral vision, just close enough to register. Or they may go quiet in a way that they know, from experience, will pull you toward them. Because they have learned that your love makes you reach out, that your empathy makes you check in, that your nature, the very thing they targeted in the first place, will do part of the work for them. This is why so many people find themselves confused after a hoovering attempt. Because it does not feel like manipulation. It feels like the person you fell in love with, finally coming back. And that is exactly the point. Let us look at the specific language a covert narcissist uses when they are hoovering. Because once you hear these patterns, you will recognize them instantly. I've been doing a lot of thinking. This is one of the most common opening lines. It signals self-awareness. It implies change. It positions the narcissist as someone who has reflected, grown, and arrived at a new understanding. It is designed to make you believe that this time will be different. You were the only person who ever really understood me. This one is particularly precise. It targets your identity as the one who truly saw them. It makes you feel irreplaceable. And it subtly asks you to return to that role. I just needed you to know that I am sorry. Note the construction. Not I am sorry for what I did. Not a specific acknowledgement of harm. Just a performed gesture of remorse. Enough to feel like an apology without the accountability that a real apology requires. I am not asking for anything. I just wanted to reach out. This one is clever. It removes pressure. It makes you feel safe to respond, because responding, after all, is not agreeing to anything, except that it is. Because the moment you respond, the cycle restarts, and then there is silence used as a weapon. No words at all. Just presence. Just proximity. Just enough contact to keep you emotionally activated without giving you anything to address directly. This may be the question that hurts the most to sit with. Why do I keep responding? Why does part of me still want to? The answer is not weakness. The answer is neuroscience and the deeply human nature of hope. When you were in that relationship, your nervous system was conditioned through a process of intermittent reinforcement. This is the same mechanism used in gambling. Unpredictable rewards, delivered inconsistently, create a neurological dependency that is extraordinarily difficult to break. You are not addicted to the person. You are addicted to the cycle. The push and pull, the withdrawal and the return, the hope extinguished and then reignited over and over again. So when the narcissist returns, when they send that message or make that call, your nervous system does not first consult your logic. It responds. It floods you with the same activation it always did, the same mix of anxiety, longing, and that particular sensation that you might finally get what you have been waiting for. That is not weakness. That is a conditioned response to a very sophisticated pattern. Understanding this does not make the pull disappear, but it changes your relationship to it. Because now, when you feel that pull, you can name what is happening inside you. And naming it is the first act of freedom. So how do you catch a hoovering attempt as it is happening? There are specific markers to look for. The contact arrives after a period of silence, particularly after you have begun to make progress. This is not coincidence. The narcissist has an almost uncanny sensitivity to your emotional state, especially when your investment in them is fading. When they sense distance, they move. The message or contact is emotionally charged but nonspecific. It is designed to generate a feeling, not to communicate something concrete. There is no acknowledgement of what actually caused the separation. Real change requires accountability. The hoover skips accountability and goes directly to connection, because connection is what they need, and accountability is what they want to avoid. The contact has a sense of urgency or fragility attached to it. I just needed you to know. I've been really struggling. These framings are designed to activate your empathy before your discernment has time to engage. And perhaps most tellingly, after contact is made, nothing structurally changes. The patterns that were present before the silence return. The same dynamic reemerges, because the hoover was never about transformation. It was about return. You cannot always predict when a hoovering attempt will come, but you can decide now before it happens how you will respond. The most effective response is one that the narcissist cannot use, and the contact they cannot use is the one that does not arrive. No contact, or strict limited contact where circumstances require it, is not cruelty. It is clarity. It is the understanding that responding, even to say that you will not engage, is still engagement. It is still supply. If you must respond, because of shared children, because of professional necessity, keep it factual, brief, and emotionally flat. Not cold, not hostile, just unengaged. The narcissist feeds on emotional activation. Remove the activation, and you remove the reward. And when you feel that pull, when your body responds before your mind has caught up, pause. Name what is happening. This is a conditioned response. This is not a sign that I should go back. This is the cycle asking me to re-enter it. You are allowed to feel the pull and not follow it. That distinction between feeling and acting is where your freedom lives. You are not broken because part of you still responds to them. You are not foolish because it took time to see this pattern clearly. You were in a relationship that was designed at a fundamental level to make clarity difficult. That was not an accident. That was the architecture of the dynamic. But now you know what hoovering is. You know why it happens. You know what drives it, what it sounds like, and what it is asking of you. And that knowledge changes everything. Because hoovering only works when you do not recognize it. The moment you can name what is happening, the moment you can stand in the pull and say, I see exactly what this is, the power of it begins to dissolve. You have done something difficult to get to this point. You have survived the discard, the confusion, and the silence. You have found your way to stillness. Do not let a message undo what took everything in you to build. If the next video in this series is something you need, it is on future faking, the tactic where a covert narcissist uses your own dreams to keep you bound to them. Understanding it is just as important as understanding this. It is there for you when you are ready.